10, New Orleans' very own.
Welcome to WGNO News. I'm Susan Rosegen.
And I'm Kurt Sprang. And tonight, Mayor Cantrell's office confirms what we reported last week, the names of the 3 finalists in the search for a new NOPD superintendent.
And now we know how each of those finalists scored in their evaluations. Thedrick Andrus, a former chief of the Henderson, Nevada Police Department, who retired after a union vote of no confidence, is on top in the search evaluation. He scored 90% in analysis presentation, 84% in structured interview, and 57% in the written exercise. Ann Kirkpatrick, a former chief of the Oakland, California Police Department, comes in second in the evaluation. She scored 89% for analysis presentation, 58% for structured interview, and 64% for the written exercise. Interim NOPD Chief Michelle Woodfork, who's been with the department for 32 years, scored the lowest, but within a few percentage points of the others. She scored 83% in analysis presentation, 74% in structured interview, and 54% in the written exercise. What is not clear yet is how much of those scores is based on the opinion of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, which led the search, or the opinions of city and community leaders. Councilman J.P. Morrell, who's been critical of the process from the beginning, told WGNO tonight that the scores are interesting but were provided without context. He says the lack of transparency limits the usefulness of that evaluation.
The National Weather Service says this week is shaping up to be the hottest so far this summer.
Feeling it already. Chief Meteorologist Hank Allen is here to tell us what to expect. Hank.
Yeah, not hard to see why. Yesterday we topped out at 99 at the airport. How about 100 today? And that means another excessive heat warning in effect for tomorrow. Of course, we've been talking about these in reference to the heat index values lately, although that temperature of 105, we weren't too far off from that either. In some spots, we're not going to quite get there, but nevertheless, heat index values of 113 or higher likely over the next few days. And look at this, across the entire state, the excessive heat warning in effect in our Mississippi counties as well. So here's what we're looking at in terms of those temperatures for tomorrow. Once again, a good portion of the northern half of the area right around that 100-degree mark. All these spots today, or at least most of them, topping out around 100 once you got a little bit farther away from the lake, and we'll likely do it again tomorrow. Same story on the South Shore here, really anywhere from 99 to 100 from Metairie to Raceland to Gramercy. I mean, really the only thing I see that would throw a wrench into some of these numbers would be if you get, sort of that freak pop-up shower earlier in the day, say around 2 or 3 o'clock, and then you can't quite recover from those daytime highs. But like today, a lot of the activity tomorrow should pop up around 4 to 6 in the evening and be very, very spotty. So I still expect those temperatures to approach that 100-degree mark across the area. How about that heat index value? You can see here anywhere from really 112, 113 around the area tomorrow. And we may even see a slightly higher reading on Wednesday, believe it or not. Look at some of these numbers coming in here, 113 to 118 across the area Wednesday afternoon. So it's been super hot this summer. Hard to believe we're talking about things even getting a little bit hotter over the next couple of days, but it looks like that's the case, guys. So continue to drink those fluids, stay hydrated, and try to stay in the AC as much as possible.
Will do. Thanks, Hank.
And the extreme heat will be here when schools and school programs start up again.
WGNO's Rick Gogrieve has more on dealing with the heat. Rick.
Susie and Kurt, with school doors opening up soon, student athletes will be getting back on the practice field as well very shortly. Now, this intense heat will be continuing throughout the rest of the summer, and that means coaches will have to prepare a little harder to make sure that their student athletes are healthy on the field. Hot weather is nothing new here in southeast Louisiana, but the record-breaking heat this summer has residents sweating it out.
It's been so hot, I think I shed about 5 pounds.
It has been ridiculous. My sons think the air conditioner is broke.
Staying out of the sun and in the AC is always your best bet, but if you need to go outside, it's best to be prepared.
Drink the electrolyte replacement drinks, drink the water, but also wear loose, light-fitting clothing. And then ultimately, limit how much you're outside during those hottest parts of the day. So anywhere from, say, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. right now is extremely hot.
And with school getting started again, student athletes will be out in the heat. Football practice at John Curtis Christian School begins next week, and Coach J.T. Curtis has already begun preparing for work in these brutal temperatures.
They're hydrating their body because we can't go home with them. When we come to practice, then of course, I think we're going to have to make some adaptations that maybe we have not had to make in the past. Obviously, we've always had breaks scheduled in practice. I think you're going to see them be a little more frequent than what we've had in the past. There'll always be water available on the field.
Coach Curtis says the most important element of these hot practices will be communication between the students and trainers, making sure that they get the proper medical care when needed.
Nobody's going to be out there and be comfortable. It's a miserable place to be at this time of the year. But when they don't feel right, they need to communicate that to the coach. The coach needs to get that player to the trainer. Then the trainer needs to make the proper evaluation to make sure we don't put a child in danger.
Dr. Elder says it is very important to pay attention to your health while outside in this heat. He says if you feel dizzy or lightheaded or uncomfortable in any way, get inside immediately into that AC and get under some cold water to help lower that body temperature. Susie and Kurt.
Yeah, helmet and shoulder pads don't protect you from the heat, that's for sure.
No, they do not.
Well, for some folks, it is hotter inside these days than it is outside. Renters at the Maxwell Apartments in Metairie told us they've been without AC for 2 weeks. Some said they've been dragging their mattresses outside to sleep and finding other ways to cool down.
Me and the residents come up with a trick where we just stick our head in the freezer for like 5 minutes and we just cool off real quick. As you can see, I got 2 fans on the floor right here. Without this, I'd probably be heat stroking right now, convulsing on the floor. It's ridiculous what's going on here, and it's got to stop. It has to stop.
Well, the renters told us that after not being able to reach the apartment managers, the managers sent renters an email late today saying they could stay in a hotel and get reimbursed while the AC is being fixed.
Covering Jefferson Parish, some of the new flood protection measures in the parish are beginning to pay off in people's bank accounts. An annual progress report shows the parish has saved policyholders in unincorporated Jefferson Parish in all more than $10 million. The savings are a result of various flood mitigation projects that are either completed or in the works. Councilman at Large Scott Walker says savings are likely to continue as the parish identifies more areas for more projects.
So every year that list is updated, and over the years since 2020 that has now led to $11 million in flood insurance policy discounts for residents in unincorporated Jefferson Parish, which is good news where we need some good news right now.
The announcement comes as Louisiana's elected leaders look to find ways to encourage more insurance companies to write policies in the state.
In tonight's crime report, take a close look at this car. The police say it appears to be a Honda CR-V that was used in a double shooting last night. The shooting was in the 1800 block of Industry Street, and detectives say that's one of the suspects getting out of the back seat with a gun in his hand. 2 women, ages 76 and 36, who were sitting on their front porch were shot but are expected to be okay.
Happening tomorrow, drivers in Orleans Parish slow down. School zones go back into effect in the morning. That means the cameras will be on. Hours are 7 to 9 in the morning and 2:45 to 4:45 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. The speed limit in a school zone is 20 miles per hour.
Covering America, an Idaho mother convicted of murdering her children has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Lori Vallow Daybell killed 2 of her children and conspired to kill her husband's previous wife in a case that included bizarre claims that her son and daughter, she said, were zombies and that she was going to usher in the biblical apocalypse. Her husband is in jail awaiting the start of his trial next year.
A homicide investigation is underway after sanitation workers found a body inside of a barrel at Malibu Lagoon State Beach in California. The barrel was spotted last night. Workers dragged it to shore this morning and opened it after feeling how heavy it was. Police are trying to determine how long the barrel was there, as well as the identity and cause of death of the person inside.
One of those banner planes crashed into the Atlantic Ocean in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You know, one of those planes that pull a banner advertising something for folks on the beach to see. The pilot survived. No word on what caused the crash.
Still ahead, an American woman and her child missing in Haiti. The State Department fears she was kidnapped.
Plus, the search for possible damage done in the U.S. by Chinese hackers.
And the search for the thief who stole thousands of dollars worth of lawn equipment in Covington. It's tonight's Wheel of Justice report.
Susan Rosegen, meteorologist Hank Allen, and sports with Ed Daniels.
Tonight on the Wheel of Justice, Covington police are trying to find a thief who may have some serious yard work he needs to get done. He's accused of stealing some high-end lawn equipment from this business, and tonight we can also show you the truck that police say he used to make his getaway. Cutting grass is rough duty, especially this summer. Anything you can do to save a little exertion in the heat is probably going to help. On Thursday, July 27th, at a business in the 1000 block of Ronald Reagan Highway, where they sell some of the best equipment around, maybe that's what the driver of this truck was thinking. Covington police say it's a dark blue GMC Sierra, and they say the trailer wasn't empty. They say inside of it were a Kubota zero-turn riding mower and a Kubota stand-on mower, and it was a big score. The riding mower runs around $20,000 and the stand-on around $10,000. If you can help catch the thief, call Covington police. So far, more than 460 people have been booked after their cases rolled on the Wheel of Justice. And it may have been more than the mowers. We're hearing that the trailer itself that was used to steal the mowers was also stolen, but from another Covington business.
Covering stories around the world, a New Hampshire woman and her daughter are missing in Haiti, and the organization she works with believes she was kidnapped. Her name is Alex Dorsonville, and she was working with a missionary group as a nurse. Here's part of an interview with her before she went missing.
Kids from the school will get permission from their teachers, and they send them over and come to the nurse's office, and then I check them out.
Well, State Department officials say they're working with Haitian authorities to bring Dorsonville and her daughter home safely. The State Department is also ordering the families of U.S. government employees in Haiti to get out and urging other Americans not to travel there.
New concerns tonight that Chinese hackers may have compromised critical U.S. infrastructure.
An urgent search for computer code that could affect power grids and water supplies. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has the story.
It's being called a ticking time bomb. The New York Times reports the Biden administration believes Chinese hackers have installed malware on U.S. networks that could affect both military and civilian operations. Officials say the malicious code could disrupt power grids, communication systems, and water supplies that feed military bases around the world. But the impact could spread much farther, as that infrastructure often supplies civilian homes and businesses. A National Security Council official did not acknowledge the malware directly, but said the Biden administration is working relentlessly to defend the United States from any disruptions to our critical infrastructure. Back in May, Microsoft reported finding mysterious computer code in telecommunication systems in Guam, the Pacific Island home to multiple U.S. military bases. Now, U.S. officials acknowledge Microsoft could only see a small portion of a much larger issue. They say the Chinese malware effort predates the May report from Microsoft by at least a year.
What are we seeing today? The threat environment at its all-time highest. Just over the last year, we saw an increase of 953 new bad actor groups, bringing the total of 3,500 unique groups.
Earlier this month, Chinese hackers infiltrated the accounts of the U.S. Commerce Secretary and other officials at the Commerce and State Departments. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
Back home in New Orleans East, you might have seen or smelled smoke lately. It is from a wildfire in the Bayou Sauvage National Wildlife Refuge. You can see the smoke there. It's an area of marsh grass west of Highway 11 and north of Chef Menteur Highway. The fire was apparently caused by a lightning strike during one of our recent storms.
Super dry lately, no doubt about it. In terms of rainfall, about 20 inches below average on the year at this point. Now, we don't have any of those fire watches or red flag warnings or anything like that, simply because we have, of course, this time of year, a ton of humidity. But that doesn't mean that the fuel isn't still fairly dry out there, so be careful. Otherwise, temperatures up around 100 here as we head through the day tomorrow across the northern half of the area, and frankly on the southern half too. Anywhere from 99 to 100 across most of us, and boy, I tell you, just no relief in sight anytime soon. Now, one of these days you're going to get a pop-up thunder shower that kind of trips up these forecasts here, but in the absence of that, there's really nothing to say, hey, we're not going to get that hot again tomorrow. So forecast heat index values anywhere from really right around 110 to 115 through the afternoon. And look at this on Wednesday, maybe just a slight uptick in humidity with that heat index around 113 to 118. Now again, do you know the difference between 110 and 115 when you walk outside? Likely not. But all of this to say that, especially if you were outside earlier today, it didn't feel really humid necessarily, but it just felt just scorching hot. So we're just in that sort of next level phase of heat here as we go through the next few days. So it's been a long, hot summer. You need to continue to hydrate, try getting the AC as much as possible. I know we keep saying this day after day, and luckily we haven't seen, I don't think, too many issues, health-related issues with the heat, but obviously you got to continue to protect yourself over the next few days. How about these numbers right now? 89 still at the airport in Kenner. Most of us in the mid to upper 80s. So again, the difference between this year and past summers, a lot of times, you'll get that thunderstorm that cools you down for a little bit during the afternoon time frame. Not getting it for most of this summer, certainly not a lot this week. And that's why we're going to stay on the hot side. And, when we talk about just next level heat out there, when you get that dew point up around 80, you think about a couple of weeks ago or back in June, the dew point was in the mid 70s. That felt excessive. You get up around 80, then it really feels ridiculous. And that's what we have out there at the moment. Radar pretty quiet this evening across most of the area. A couple thunderstorms blowing up offshore on those night vision clouds. That's about it. Otherwise, a little bit of cloud cover drifting through over the next few hours. And we'll look for that spotty thunderstorm potential tomorrow afternoon. But, you can see here only a few, so if you get one of these, it does cool you off a little bit, which is nice, but it's just not going to be widespread enough to really give us any relief. In the tropics, the good news to all this here is there's nothing going on anywhere really, and then you get this wave out in the Atlantic that we talked about last week here that's going to continue to head off to the north. You can see the Hurricane Center already lowering those percentages. So we mentioned this last week, they got a little ahead of things on that last wave. I think this one too, so still likely to avoid much development anytime soon. Temperatures tonight not cooling down much, obviously heating up quickly tomorrow as we get back into the upper 90s through the afternoon, barring one of those 3 or 4 thunderstorms over you as you go through the day. And I'll keep that rain chance at about 20% through Friday. Now over the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, just a slight uptick, I think, in that afternoon storm chance, a little bit closer to normal this time of year, maybe even a bit more. into Monday of next week, but still nothing widespread enough, I don't think, to really curtail this heat over the next 5 to 7 days. Ed Daniels just asked me, as a matter of fact, when does this end? And I said, I don't know. We can look forward to Halloween probably, but that's El Nino, guys. I mean, typically you get these hot stretches of summer in the south. Fall tends to be hot and dry as well, and then we start to get some colder, wetter winter patterns in the south. So, you know, maybe we can get some snow out of all this, but not anytime soon.
And keeping the hurricanes away, as El Nino is supposed to.
Yeah, we like that too.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Hank.
Yep.
Hopefully the heat won't put a damper on the annual Taylor Family Free Day at the Audubon Zoo. It is Wednesday. Taylor scholars in grades 6 through 12 with a GPA of 2.5 or higher are invited to bring up to 4 guests with them and enjoy the day. The program was created in partnership with the Patrick F. Taylor Foundation that provides college scholarships to Louisiana students.
Still ahead, the push for better maternal health care. We'll be right back.
Health departments, Touro Infirmary and Ochsner Health will announce the Family Connects New Orleans program. It's a maternal health program scheduled to be up and running later this year. The free and voluntary program will send nurses to the homes of families with newborns. It aims to improve the health and well-being of children and families by connecting them with resources they need.
Marijuana use during pregnancy appears to be on the rise. Marijuana is legal in many states, and ABC's M. Nguyen shows you how it might affect a fetus.
Nausea and vomiting can be a challenging part of pregnancy, so much so that some pregnant patients are turning to marijuana to treat symptoms. But what does this mean for a developing baby? The exact effects of marijuana on a growing fetus are unclear, but a new study from Central Michigan University suggests marijuana can limit a developing baby's growth. These differences were noted in people who use marijuana as early as the first trimester, when people may not know yet that they are pregnant. There were even bigger differences infants and newborns exposed to marijuana through the whole pregnancy. Low birth weight has been associated with long-term childhood outcomes like ADHD, obesity, and high blood pressure. But the effects of marijuana use are still unclear. Even though marijuana is legal in many places and can be used safely, that doesn't mean it's safe for all situations. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists advise against marijuana use prior to becoming pregnant, during pregnancy, and while breastfeeding. If you or someone you know is experiencing nausea, vomiting, and other concerns in pregnancy, talk to your healthcare provider about safer options. With this Medical Minute, I'm Em Nguyen, ABC News.
Still ahead in sports, he gives the Saints more than just another big body up front. Ed Daniels checks in on the club's first-round pick. Next. Saints head coach Dennis Allen said running back Alvin Kamara wants to tell his side of the story regarding a fight outside a nightclub at the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas in February of 2022. Kamara could be suspended. Allen said the Saints did not have any indication from the NFL as to any possible disciplinary action. The Saints have had some great interior pass rushers. Wayne Martin and Leroy Glover come to mind. But it has been a while, perhaps, since they have had one like this. In pads on Monday, Saints first-round pick Bryan Bresee continued his NFL education. Saints head coach Dennis Allen said there is a quickness about Bresee's game that should help the Saints hurry the opposing quarterback.
There's some suddenness inside, some pass rush ability inside that, I don't know that we've had. We've had some great power rushers, but I don't know that we've had the the suddenness, the burst, the twitch, some of those things that we have.
Brazee stands 6'5" and weighs more than 300 pounds. And he's got quicks. Saints offensive lineman James Hurst said Brazee has attributes that you can't teach.
The coolest thing to see is a guy that comes in and has natural pass rush ability. He understands how to, move his hips out of the hole and give the offensive lineman a small target. He understands that. He knows how, he tries the first move, it doesn't work. He's going to go into a counter very quickly.
Brazee, who was a heralded high school prospect before he signed with Clemson, was matter of fact about his work thus far.
There's always good stuff and bad stuff, but nothing's as good as it seems or as bad as it seems. So, and it's still camp now. So, just trying to practice and get better.
And the Saints practice again Tuesday and Wednesday. They are not scheduled to practice on Thursday. Saints starting left guard Andrus Peat left practice Monday before team drills began. Peat has a quad strain, but it is not as nearly as severe as the one that ended Trey Turner's season. So says head coach Dennis Allen. Peat has played in only 30 regular season games the last 3 seasons. LSU looking for a better result this time against Florida State. Sunday, September 3rd. We kick off live on WGNO and ABC. The Tigers and the Seminoles. And Coach JT and I will be in the WGNO Sports Zone before and after the game. A fast-rising Newman tight end is committed to the South Alabama Jaguars. Tight end Will Lorzell, 6'6", 250, made his declaration on social media. At Newman, it is the season after Arch Manning. Head coach Nelson Stewart said the Greenies are excited.
Really focused on the weight room this summer. I think that's something that you hear all about, 7-on-7 in football school. We really focused on getting bigger, faster, stronger. We did some football, but we're focused on, our program, doing things the right way. And I think everyone's excited because I think we really have an opportunity and, really have fun, just playing high school football. I think the most pure part of, what we do.
And the quarterback for Newman is junior Eli Friend, who is a dual threat QB. Newman takes on St. Martin's in the Jamboree August 25th. Season 32 Friday Night Football presented by the All-State Sugar Bowl kicks off August 18th. Nova 38 at 11, WGNO at midnight. It is season number 32. And in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, the defending champions, the New Orleans Boosters, won their opening game in the All-American Amateur Baseball Association National Tournament. The Boosters defeated Philadelphia 8-3.
More wins for them ahead, we hope, as well, then.
You bet.
All right, thanks, Ed.